Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Springtrap, Circus Baby. Puppet, Ennard. Freddy. Here is the question that decides most runs in the classic office. What ends you faster, the door you forgot, or the power you wasted trying not to forget it? Freddy is the tax collector for bad habits. In the first game, he shifts with a laugh and a camera stutter, then waits by the right door for a single mistake. And if the power dies, he walks the stage to the Toreador March and closes the lights on his terms. Freddy. Pressure is slow and merciless. He punishes players who overwatch the wrong cameras and underwatch power. You can make it to 5 a.m. feeling safe, only to learn that safety was just a higher bill. He is not the fastest, he is the final. Freddy. The craft is distance management. His path is quieter than the others, so you must track him by absence. Stage empty, dining hall dark, right hall silent. The pattern is a countdown you do not hear unless you learned it yesterday. Freddy. Pushback says to save power and trust the door lights more than the cameras. It works until it does not. He will take advantage of a dark office the way a storm takes advantage of a low roof. Freddy. Versus Field. Bonnie and Chica are blunt pressure. Foxy is a sprint, but Freddy turns the whole night into a math problem. That is why he feels like the real boss even when he is not on the poster. Freddy. Impact line. If you play the night like a sprint, he makes it a marathon you did not train for. Verdict. Count clicks, not fears, and leave 6% for the song. Bonnie. The left side bully owns the earliest shocks of the series. He will sit in that blind spot for what feels like hours, making your hand hover over the door button while the clock forgets to move. Early nights teach you to watch his silhouette and respect how quiet the left hall can be. Bonnie. Performance is a tug of war between patience and panic. The longer he camps the light, the more you bleed power checking to see if he is gone. He is not gone. He would like you to keep asking. Bonnie. Mechanics favor players who separate cameras from doors. Track his hops when the camera fizzles, then commit to short, disciplined door checks. If the shadow is there, door down, count 2 breaths, door up, discipline wins. Bonnie. The counter reading says he is predictable once you memorize the rhythm. That is the trick. His rhythm bends on higher nights, and every extra hop costs you attention you need for Foxy. Bonnie. Versus Field. Chica mirrors him on the right, but leaks noise from the kitchen. Bonnie steals silence, which is worse. Bonnie. Impact line. When your left thumb aches, you are already playing his game. Verdict. Make a compact loop and never blink on purpose. Chica. The kitchen is clatter and the right hall is a mouth. Chica is not fast, she is territorial. She will sit by the door and force you to choose between eating power and gambling with a light tap and a prayer. Her bib says, let's eat, but the food is your battery life. Chica. Pressure lives in sound. The kitchen noise teases presence. The radio static burps promise nothing. And sometimes she is silent until you taste the mistake. She trains you to listen for lies. Chica. Craft is patience by design. The longer she camps, the less you check Foxy, and the less you check Foxy, the more the night bends toward a sprint you cannot win. Chica is a teammate you do not want your opponent to have. Chica. Pushback says to time door lights and refuse the urge to hold the door closed. That is right. She cannot open a shut door. Your job is to avoid shutting it out of fear for minutes at a time. Chica. Versus Field. She punishes indecision better than Bonnie because she gives you more audio to misread. Chica. Impact line. When the kitchen talks too much, stop listening and use the light. Verdict. Short checks, long stillness, no sympathy for hungry birds. Foxy. Pirate Cove is a curtain and a dare. Foxy is the sprint that ends perfect runs. If you ignore him, he charges the hall, slams the door, and refunds your safety as a power penalty. His whole design is a contract. Pay attention or pay later. Foxy. Performance is interval training. Checking him too rarely wakes him. Checking him in a panic can also agitate him. And forgetting him while you fight Bonnie and Chica is an invitation to a red sprint you cannot outpace. Foxy. Mechanics are simple and evil. Open the camera in a steady cadence, flash his curtain long enough to confirm, then return to the loop. His knock on the door will cost you energy, and that changes every other decision. Foxy. The strongest pushback is to memorize a camera rhythm that survives chaos. When the night goes wrong, the rhythm pulls you back to cove. Muscle memory saves more players than reflex. Foxy versus Field. He is the only one who punishes cameras indirectly. Watch him too little, he runs. Watch him too much, you forget everyone else. That is not a bug, it is the design. Foxy. Impact line. A curtain teaches pacing better than any scare. Verdict. Keep the beat, and you will keep the door. Springtrap. Different office, single hunter. The building is rotting, the vents are traps, and one green rabbit walks the map like a rumor made of steel. Springtrap does not teleport. He commits to routes, and he listens when you call. Springtrap. Pressure is line of sight, systems, and nerves. You manage cameras, audio lures, and maintenance panels, while cardboard ghosts burn your focus. The rabbit only needs you to misclick once. Springtrap. Craft is the audio lure that buys you room and the vent seals that close his best shortcuts. Sounds placed one room away, vents locked where his sprite will soon pop, and errors fixed in the order that keeps you breathing. Springtrap. Pushback argues that you can kite him forever, maybe on night 1. On higher nights he learns to dodge calls, and the ghosts chain errors until your hands feel like oven mitts. He thrives on stress you thought you had cured. Springtrap. Versus Field. The classics hunt you, he can be herded. That is why he is terrifying. He makes you think control is possible, while the building argues otherwise. Springtrap. Impact line. If your plan requires 0 mistakes, it is not a plan. Verdict. Place sound with intent and seal vents like your lungs live there. Circus Baby. The voice is gentle, the plan is not. She talks you into breaking rules that keep you alive. In her world, trust is bait, instructions are puzzles, and the safest door is the one you are told never to open. Circus Baby. Performance is a test of compliance. Hide under the desk and hold, crawl through vents when told, and decide whether the shock button is mercy or theater. The fear is not speed. It is persuasion. Circus Baby. Mechanics revolve around listening for the wrong calm. When the room whispers, it is safe to move. Do not move. When the voice says follow, ask why. Her greatest weapon is a sentence that sounds reasonable. Circus Baby. The main pushback is to obey the rules of the room, not the voice in it. If a map and a mouth disagree, believe the map. Circus Baby. Versus Field. Foxy makes you run. Freddy makes you budget. Baby makes you argue with yourself. That is a different kind of scary, and it works. Circus Baby. Impact line. When an enemy offers help, they are hiring you. Verdict. Take instruction from physics, not charisma. Puppet. The prize corner is a clock with a crank. You wind, you live, you forget. The puppet stands. In the second game, the mask can save you from most things, but not this one. The music box is your rent and your focus tax. Puppet. Performance is multitasking under fire. You flick the camera to the corner, hold to wind, drop back to the hall lights, repeat. Every second you spend cranking is a second something else can steal home. Puppet. Craft is beautiful and cruel. The tie between safety and song forces you to leave the office to be safe in the office. If that is true, then fear becomes a timing game instead of a jump scare contest. Puppet. Pushback says to pre-wind and only top off during calm. Calm does not last. Smart players learn to flick the camera fast, accept imperfection, and return to the mask with hands already in motion. Puppet. Versus Field. Most threats react to your panic. This one creates it. That is why new players crumble and veterans call it fair. Puppet. Impact line. Do not confuse survival with stillness. Verdict. Make the music your metronome and trust the loop. Ennard. A mask of wires that waits in the dark, more trap than face. Sister location ends with a room that asks you to sit still, watch monitors, and hear footsteps that tell truths and lies. Ennard is patience made into a thing. Ennard. Performance is small motions and breath control. You flick the light to confirm his position, lower the panel when he lunges, raise it when he resets, and count the seconds like a lifeguard. Every action is a bet you do not want to lose. Ennard. Mechanics reward players who can hold still on purpose. Panic adds extra checks that get you grabbed. Calm earns windows to survive. Ennard. Pushback insists that you can predict him perfectly by sound. That is close. What saves you is not prediction, it is recovery. The faster you return to stillness after a scare, the more likely you are to see morning. Ennard. Versus Field. He shares Baby's voice tricks and Springtrap's routes, but he turns the office into a meditation exercise with consequences. Ennard. Impact line. When the monster wants your heartbeat, give him silence instead. Verdict. Move only when you mean to. A first micro-vignette. Night 4, 3 a.m. The player hears clatter from the kitchen and locks the right door for a full minute. At 5% power, the song starts. They laugh because they planned for this, and the laugh dies when the clock stalls at 5 a.m. for a lifetime. The lesson is written in static. A second micro-vignette. A kid at a prize counter winds a toy music box until the spring fights back. Years later, a grown-up flicks to cam 11 and whines because the body remembers how that feels. Hands can learn fear and fix it at the same time. Do not glamorize harm. Focus on craft, logic, and psychology. Escalation lands here. Across the series, the scariest animatronics are not just louder or faster. They turn your attention into a resource and then bill you for it. Freddy bills you at midnight. Bonnie bills the left light. Chica bills the kitchen. Foxy bills the curtain. Springtrap bills the map. Baby bills your trust. Puppet bills your hands. Ennard bills your breathing. Once you notice that pattern, the games stop being haunted houses and start being systems that reward calm minds. So, what changes for you? Build a loop you can run under stress. Set a camera cadence and protect it. Choose which lies you will ignore before the night lies to you. If power is money, spend it like a frugal parent and tip only for results. If a voice asks for faith, pay with physics. If a box needs winding, wind, and return without apology. If breath wants to leave you, count it back in. Button to close. The office will always try to become a panic machine. These 8 are the parts that make it work. Your job is not to be fearless. Your job is to keep a beat the monsters cannot dance to.